When you first start editing, there's a bunch of bad habits that you can start developing that will really slow you down when you're trying to edit. Here are my top 5 bad habits that you should fix if you're doing this when editing your videos. Habit number 1 is rewatching your video over and over. Whenever you add a new effect, I know you want to watch it and make sure it looks good, or you are really proud of a sequence and you want to rewatch it over and over again. But my advice to you would just be go through the entire sequence, edit everything, put all the effects on and everything like that. Then go back and watch the whole thing in full and see if there's any mistakes along the way. That way you're not watching each individual effect to make sure it works. You can watch it all at once and fix it all at the same time instead of fixing each one individually and costing you a bunch of time. What I like to do is go through my video in phases. I go through the rough cut, then I add all the effects, I add all the text and graphics, and then I go over and fix any mistakes I might have made along the way. And doing this workflow has really sped up my edits and future videos. Habit number 2 is editing with a messy timeline. If you have audio layers everywhere, graphics everywhere, random effects and mogres just scattered across your timeline, it's gonna be impossible to find things that you wanna change, and it's gonna cost you so much time. What I would recommend is not only naming each one of your layers, but nesting certain sequences once you're done with them, so your final timeline is just a bunch of nested sequences instead of a jumbled mix of random footage and graphics and audio clips or whatever else you have on your timeline. If you're spending time scrolling through your timeline and looking for assets, that's time wasted that you could be using to fix other aspects of your video. What I like to do as well is have a structure for my timeline. A roll is on V1, B roll is on V2, text is on V3, graphics are on V4, the music goes on audio channel 1, and then sound effects go below that. If you adopt a certain workflow that works for you, this will also help speed up your workflow as well. Habit number 3 is having an unorganized bin in your project panel. Searching through files using File Explorer takes way too much time since you have to tab out of the program to do it. What's better is to bring all those clips into your project panel and put it inside of a bin. But don't just put everything in a big jumbled mess on your timeline, make sure you organize them in bins. What I like to do is have a bin for footage, a bin for sound effects, a bin for graphics, and a bin for motion graphics, and a bin for audio. Having these subfolders help me out so much. Instead of having to search through the entire project panel, I can just go to the correct bin and find exactly what I'm looking for. The 4th bad habit is doing micro edits before your rough cut is finished. If you're going through your rough cut and you notice some details that need to be fixed, maybe dialogue doesn't line up correctly or the color correction's off or whatever it is, leave it be until you come back later. Spend time finishing your rough cut first because that's what it is, a rough cut. It's not supposed to be perfect. And then go back and fix those mistakes when you go through the revision phase. Because chances are you're gonna end up re-editing or deleting that clip later. You'll just be scatter editing across your timeline and lose your momentum. If the story isn't solidified yet, don't go fixing all the small details. Focus on the story first, and then you can go back and change all those small details to make it a quality video. And the last habit that you should probably stop doing if you are already is not using shortcuts. It honestly took me a lot longer to start using shortcuts than I would like to admit, but ever since I started using them, my workflow has sped up so much. You wouldn't really think right-clicking and hitting like ripple delete would really take that much time. Sure, that might only save 2 seconds, but imagine how many times you're doing that over the course of your entire project. You're gonna end up saving so many minutes by just binding everything to a keybind and using those instead of clicking and finding it in the menus. In conclusion, video editing is a skill that takes a long time to master, and everyone still makes mistakes no matter what stage in their editing journey they're in. But these were the mistakes I was making when I first started out, so you should try to fix these if you're making them as well. And that's it for today's video. If you're interested in learning how to video edit, I have a link in my description for one-on-one coaching. Otherwise, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for another video.